continuing with the games. Now, last week we've been discussing about the manipulative nature of EA games, in particular the worst game ever conceived, worst rated, obviously not conceived, but the worst game rated ever, which is Madden 2021. Guess what? They're not yet done, digging themselves a hole here. In particular, obviously the game is one of the main issues. If you can't produce a solid game right off the bat, maybe you need time to, to polish it, so that when you release a game, you're asking people to pay $60 or even $70, people's hard-earned money, and then you expect them that there are a lot of bugs, there are a lot of issues. So why would people, patronize it, right? Anyway, another issue that's been cropping up is another game, which is UFC, which EA owns. I think the game is UFC 4. Yeah, that's the name of the title, right? So it's been riddled with a lot of bugs and issues, but that's beside the point. The game itself has issues on its own, but that's not the main problem here. Guess what? When you paid for a full game, you're going to experience a full-scale online advertisement. So during gameplay, when you're encountering, let's say, cutscenes of sorts, so they will introduce a advertisement, a full blatant image of an advert. Now, what image is that? So I don't know if you're familiar with the TV series that is released in Amazon Original. It's called The Boys. So I haven't seen that, so you can check it out. And during the game, it occupies almost the entire screen, 90% of the screen here. And it's one of those things that EA tries to, see if they can get away with it, right? Especially with their, releasing unfinished game, and then the manipulative loot boxes, and now, just to earn extra income, revenue, whatever you want to call it, getting advertisements, ads, and then, shoving it to the customers or the gamers gaming experience, so which kind of disrupts the flow. So let's take a look here. Yeah, this is what I meant. So EA is apologizing for putting the full screen in-game ad on UFC 4. Okay, so this is what you can see here. Also, you're playing the game, and you can see a full blatant advertisement, Amazon Original. Watch it on Prime Video on September 4th, right? If you're playing this game, it's a terrible experience. You're allowed to have advertisement if you're playing a free game, right? Typically on mobile games, right? Which is, you're okay with it, right? You're playing a free game, so they can, advertise in that game. But in this case, you're playing a full-fledged game, and then they have the balls to, advertise, and not advertise in the right sense, that it won't be too intrusive here. And they're just saying that they understand the negative feedback, that they are apologizing for making that mistake, but it didn't happen by accident, if you think about it, right? These are decisions that are made by top management, right? Obviously, their main goal here is to generate as much revenue as they can, at any cost, at the expense of the cost of the gamers' experience. I don't think so, right? And if you notice, if the gamers did not, gave a negative feedback, or there was a backlash, EA would continue this. And if you notice, their strategy is 2 steps forward, 1 step backward. 2 steps forward, 1 step backward. Similar with their other strategies, right? They're always trying to test the waters, see what consumers, or gamers in this case, how would they react. And obviously, based on the Reddit post, it got 100,000 upvotes based on the negative feedback that it generated, right? And what's interesting here, one of the strategies, so it did not happen by accident. So obviously, every game that is being released, critic reviews the game, user reviews the game, right? After a month, after the month it was released, after it was reviewed already, what did they do? That's when the time that they implemented the in-game advertisement, right? They turned on the ad placement. So meaning they could have disabled it, but chose to turn it on so that they can, generate revenue from the advertisement, right? How manipulative can that be? So I haven't been playing, EA games for quite some time, It's not just the games are terrible. If the games were great, that's another thing. But you know, it's getting worse and worse every year that they release a game, right? I think with the exception of FIFA, but again, FIFA, playing those games with the what do you call this? The loot games that you play, you have to purchase the card so you can improve the statistics of your players and improve and so forth. So we have to wait and see.